Hey everybody, and welcome back to Malts and Meeples. I'm Petter, and today we're going to be continuing our long journey through all the board games that are for sale for the first time at Gen Con. I have my sparkling water. Great, did I give myself hiccups? We'll see. And my beer. Alright. Let's get started picking up where we left off here with Matagot. Matagot has Expedition Northwest Passage HMS Terror Edition. This is going to be a new edition or just a reprinted edition of Expedition Northwest Passage. I don't know a ton about this one. It probably popped more on my radar today because Sam Healy on Flipside, his channel, was talking about it as one that he was interested in. It certainly looks unique. It looks like you're trying to navigate this area. I'm guessing things are changing. Routes may become blocked off, things like that as you go. The historical theme is cool as well. I'm definitely interested in seeing what that one's like and seeing what a new edition's like. I'm setting my watch off to the side because of how I rest my arm on the table. Then we have Galactic Renaissance. This one actually I think looks cool as well. However, the player count, like this one can go 1 to 4. This one's 2 to 4. And it's a bigger, longer Civ type experience of a game. So I just wonder if I'm going to be able to get it played all that often if I were to pick it up. But it definitely looks cool, and I like kind of bigger space themed games, so it'll go on the I'm interested in it. Mattel has a few here. We have Bad Interviews by Fun Employed. That doesn't sound interesting at all. It sounds like a party game where you're throwing out like some cards and to make a stupid resume or CV. And no, that's not my type of game. Then there's Ghost Fightin' Treasure Hunters. This is the anniversary edition. I'm actually interested in this one. It's a cooperative game. I've heard good things about it. Obviously, this is the anniversary edition. I'm not sure what's really going to be different. It's still kind of a kids type game. Oh, I didn't mean to close that down yet because I wanted to hit this one here. But you can see it's like the number 7 kids game out there. So I'm definitely intrigued by it. We have Phase 10 Flip. Not interested in it. I don't hate Phase 10 as much as like Tom Vassell of the Dice Tower does. But there's another game, Five Crowns, that is a very similar thing, but flows better. Like that is a better game, arguably, than Phase 10. So Phase 10 Flip, not that interested. Rock'em Sock'em Robots Fight Cards, not interested. Same with Uno Flip Attack. It's just another Uno type game. Mayfair has 2 games here, and I believe both of them are reprints. Cafe and Espresso. I'm more interested in that one than I am Lata, this fishing game. Mighty Boards has Fate Forge. I've already pre-ordered this one. This one I pre-ordered for pickup at Gen Con. I watched the unboxing video that Meet Me at the Table has and was like, that looks phenomenal. I want to pick it up. And so, already have that one. I'll have a copy set aside for me. The question will be, do I get the expansion for it? I'm not sure. I'm going to look at it, see what it potentially adds in. Is it going to just add another campaign, stuff like that? And then I'm probably just good with the base game. If it adds in something else that feels unique or something that can be mixed in to that base game, then sure. And those are, again, yeah, Mighty Boards. Mind Vision has Fibonaccios. It's a trick-taking game, so I'm curious to see how it works. That's kind of where I landed on that one. Mind Clash has Septima. This is supposed to be less heavy than some of their games. You can see it's been out theoretically for a little bit. I'm interested actually in both games that Mindfall has. Septima, just because I like the theme, and then Voidfall, I've heard great things about, minus the fact that there's just so much in the box. So it's a little, or very intimidating to get to the table. So I'll have to see. I want to see both of them just to see what they look like. I don't know that I'll sit down and demo them because Mind Clash demos tend to be quite long. So I might just shoulder surf and watch a little bit. We have Ziggurat from Rob Daviau and Matt Leacock, the people behind Pandemic Legacy. This is a family-friendly legacy game of 6 chapters. Cooperative. You know, I am super interested in this one. I'm assuming they're going to have a limited number of copies to it. But that looks cool. There's a storybook. You're going to be... I mean, it doesn't look like that big a game. So I'm hoping it's like a $50 game that might make sense to pick up. Because I definitely... No, I'm going to put that one as a must-have. I love legacy games, and Rob Daviau and Matt Leacock with Pandemic were phenomenal. So I'm very curious to see what they can do here. Mr. B Games has Lords of Baseball. I'm interested to see what this one looks like. Again, a solid rating. 3, 5, or 7 seasons. I'm a big baseball fan. And so this idea of like being a manager, seeing how well you can do each season, build up your roster, things like that, could be really cool. And 1 to 16 players, community 1 to 8, best at 4 to 8. I'd be curious. I want to know how it plays solo. It looks like it's 1 to 4. But this one, I'm very interested in this one. Again, you know what? I'm going to call that a must-have as well, just for the theme. And it, must-have just means that I must go out of my way to demo it versus, say, a must-have like I'm going to buy it for sure. Mystic Tiger Games has Stellar Drift, a pull and write. I like roll and write style games, so I'm assuming that's what this is. Okay, so you're pulling chips or stuff like that to determine what you're filling in, and it looks like fairly big and chunky. So yeah, I definitely want to know about this one. No wait yet for it. So there are 3 ratings. Kind of all over the map, what I'd expect. Naxxon Games, which will be at the you can buy at the Flat River Group, is going to have Evenfall. The Battle of the Enchanted Throne begins. 1 to 4 player, chaining card fantasy game. I like the artwork on this one, especially these cards down here at the bottom. I think those look real sharp. So I'm interested in checking that one out. You can see where we are here. all the way down to the bottom there. That's what we have left. Then we have New Kingdom. New Kingdom Gardeners, New Kingdom Sowers, hand management game, set collection game. I'm taking the wait and see approach on both of these. Obviously, that's a good score, but I bet you if we look at it, it's... 42 ratings is not bad. It's all over the map. With it, though, generally higher. Generally a solid kind of mix of grades there. There's a couple outliers, but yeah, generally, and I would say that whenever I see a 10, there's probably an outlier reason for that as well. But for something that has so few ratings. North Star is going to have Biomos. Develop a planet of biodiversity and life. I'm interested in drafting, stuff like that. North Star Games is a little hit or miss for me at times. And just a lot of their stuff thematically, I'm going to say undecided on this one. It's just a little bit less interesting to me. There's also Sacred Valley from them. This is an area influence game. I'm not that interested in this one. I'm going to put it as undecided because I definitely would check it out. But that 3 to 5 player count, whenever you get above 2, honestly, I like most of my games that I pick up to have a solo mode. But 2 is extremely important because a lot of times when I bust out a new game the first time, I have a friend who is very up for trying new games. So he'll come over every other week and we'll probably repeat play a couple games. But yeah, most of the time it's not like I'm pulling out new games with him. And that's only a 2-player count, so it's important for me to have that. Nuts Publishing is going to have some war games here. I'm not really interested in either of these. Any of these. And this is not like a negative towards war games or something like that. I just know that I probably am not ready to dive into something like this. Like Port Arthur. I mean, they say 2.0, but that's 2.0 for war game kind of weight. So heavier than what I'm probably going to be doing most of the time. Sled Runners of Peccary, a friendly goblin racing game. I like racing games. Goblins are fun. So I think this one could be a fun time. Let's look a little bit at, do we get to see a board anywhere? Not really. So it looks like it's mainly like a card game of sorts that you're playing out stuff for. So I'd be very curious to try this one out. Office Dog has Word Traveler. This one, I think, again, cooperative party games are always interesting to me. This one, I'd be curious about. You're trying to navigate, I'm assuming, around here using limited words and specify where you want to go. That image, though, actually just looks okay. Next up is Oink Games, and their new one this year is going to be Moving Wilds, a closed drafting game. I believe that this is re-implementing Zuli, so which I think it was originally on the list as that, but Zuli is a decently rated game. Moving Wild, re-implemented by it, yeah. And Oink Games generally are pretty fun. So I'm assuming you're trying to collect, what is a drafting hand management game? I definitely would like to try that one out. Then we have 10 Days in the USA. I actually picked this one up at a game store in Montana, so I'd love to give it a whirl. Blank Slate is one of my favorite party games, so this is obviously a lower player count version of Blank Slate. It's a good party game the original is a good party game in that you're trying to match with somebody, and matching with a bunch of people gets everybody in that group a point. But if you only match with one other person, both of you get 3 points. So it's trying to be obscure enough that you'll be able to match only with one person, but not too obscure so that you don't match with anybody and completely miss out on points. It's a nice work that way. Then we have Da Da Da. Create a new language each time you play. No. That is a solid no. Flip 7 is a push your luck card game. I'm assuming you're trying to flip over a 7. Oh, you're just trying to that could be intriguing. You know what? That sounds like a simple, fast game. Interesting that it plays lowest as 3. As I again said, that's kind of an issue for me. Gnome Hollow. Hey, we've had other games about mushrooms on the list. Why not yet another one? I'm assuming you're building out a map, it looks like here. A map to collect mushrooms, work up on tracks, actions, stuff like that. No, I am slightly interested in this one. I like the artwork on front a lot with the Tumta or gnome there. Move Like Me. This is going to be an acting game. No, not interested. Stock Exchange. We already had vegetable stock. Here it is stock exchange, as in flower stocks. You know what? Oh, but my goodness, that's a $50 game. That is surprising. Like, what's in there that's driving that price up? I mean, it looks... I guess if these are fairly nice, and I mean, it looks like there would probably be a lot of them, so sure. Wonky, push your luck dexterity game. I'll put it there. Next, we're on to Osprey Games. Osprey Games, one of their big lines of games is their Undaunted war games. These kind of deck builder, war style games. This one is Undaunted 2200. Callisto. It's going to be set in space. I really want to see this one, because a lot of the other Undaunted games here, it's like Undaunted Normandy, is a 2-player game. If we look at some of the other ones here, you know, I'm scrolling way too fast. My apologies. There, that should get us to some Undaunted. Like Undaunted Battle for Britain here, or North Africa. 2-player. 2-player. So the fact that this one's a 1 to 4, like, that really interests me, because if I can play it solo and it's a good solo experience, yeah, sounds good. Then there's War Story, Occupied France. Cooperate with spy networks and the resistance in a race against time. You know, I am interested in this one less so than Undaunted 2200, though this one, the War Story, is probably going to move a whole lot slower. Pandasaurus has an expansion for Beacon Patrol. I own Beacon Patrol. I played Beacon Patrol as a demo there last year. As a demo, it was so-so. I picked up the game because I was like, I think it was just a really bad demo of it, and it was on a good sale. So I need to get it played again, but I'm not going to add to what I have. Then we have Courtesans, a set collection game with Skullduggery on the menu. I'm guessing that means that this is going to have an element of take that of some sort. Yeah. So that's a pretty low one for me. Don't skip leg day. I don't. But I'm not that interested in a game about that. Ooh, I can update this one. I own Far Away. Actually, I may take that with me to Gen Con to see if I can get it played. But this one, again, the Brothers Murph were talking about it. Infiltrators. Cooperatively pinpoint the enemy agents lurking inside the deck. This is a deduction card game. I want to know how it plays, so I want to look right here, just because the Brothers Murph were a little bit like hit or miss as to how it actually played. Your organization has been infiltrated by moles, nefarious informants from the enemy. As faithful agents, you must work together to uncover and eliminate all traitors. Deduction card game with 20 missions. Suspect cards are set aside at the start. These are the traitors who must be identified by suit and numbers. Players must manage their hands to give clues on the suspect cards. Clues may match with a traitor by having the same suit, or where the number is either a multiple or a factor of the traitors. As clues accumulate, players must deduce the identity of the traitor card. But can they catch it themselves before time runs out? I'm intrigued by that. The fact that this is fully cooperative. It doesn't sound precisely like what the Brothers Murph said, but fully cooperative, definitely interested. Mind Up, I own. I enjoy this one a lot. Then there's Umbrella. This is I'm assuming... So it looks like you're doing kind of a sliding puzzle here to then try and match patterns over here, potentially. So, you know what? I'm actually interested in that one. That sounds like it could be cool. Paverson Games. Paverson Games is going to have an exceedingly busy booth for two reasons. This expansion, which I am interested in, I own Distilled. I haven't played it yet. So Distilled is going to be one of the reasons why they're busy. People will be trying to pick that game up. Maybe they haven't found it elsewhere in the wild yet. But the other thing is they have Luthier. Luthier, which is on crowdfunding currently, is about making musical instruments. Looks gorgeous. I ended up backing it. So there's going to be a lot of people wanting to demo that game. So if you're swinging by the Paverson Games, hoping to get a demo of Luthier, show up immediately. Don't, and maybe not even the first day, but like Sunday especially. Show up, second dealer hall opens, walk in, walk directly to their booth, and hopefully you can sit down and be one of the first people to play that day. Pegasus Spiel, who has a lot of games that I enjoy, has a cooperative deduction limited communication game. Players defuse bombs by deducing and cutting unseen wires of different values. This sounds similar to the other one. Obviously not trick taking, but I'm curious about this one. This could be a fun, kind of lighter game. Pendragon Game Studios, going to be at the Flat River Group booth, has Escape from New York. I'd love to see this one. And so, actually, it'd be this location 1738 is going to be where you want to go to demo stuff. And then this one is going to be the Flat River, where stuff's for sale. They also have a few more here. They have Pentris. Slide tiles down on your board to make the biggest group of each candy. So, sounds like a puzzle of sorts. Unfortunately, no images of it besides this cover here. So, you know what? I'm not super excited for that one, but if I'm at this location here to try and escape from New York, I expect that one will be busier. So Pinterest definitely can be one that I would demo just because I'm there. We also have Starship Interstellar, going to be another space game, exploration sort of one. That looks big. That looks like there's a lot going on. That looks like it might be too much for what I would want, but I'd love to see what it looks like in person. We also have, from moving on to Phase Shift games, Train Your Goblins and Take Back the Dungeon, Boblin's Rebellion. Phase Shift games does a number of interesting things with their games, so I'd be curious. They also, a lot of them come in this square box. I'm interested. They have Flutter. Grow a meadow of diverse flowers to attract pollinators. That seems interesting. And just kind of look at the setup here. That facial expression over here is the type of facial expression where I look at it and go like, I don't know that that game's going to be for me. They also have Obelisk. Shifting strategies in a timeless terrain. So it looks like as things are rolled, you're placing out dice and you're trying to get some stuff set up. That looks like it could be a lighter game and you're probably a head-to-head one, so I'd be curious about that one. Pinebox Entertainment has an expansion for the 7th Sea. I'm interested in this one just because I want to try the 7th Sea. This expansion, again, how interesting is it for me? Not that interesting. But as a way to remind myself, oh yeah, I'd love to check out 7th Sea, the City of the Five Sails. Sure, that's a good option. Plus, I mean, that's well rated, not a huge number of ratings. Let's see if we have a good picture of anything that resembles the game. We do not. Plaid Hat Games is going to have an expansion for Ashes Reborn, Red Rains, The Corpse of Viros. Undecided on this one. I have avoided Ashes thus far because it constantly has stuff coming out for it. But I'd love to give it a whirl. So I guess it's probably more accurate to say I'm interested in this one just to try it out so I can say that I've tried it and have a better understanding if it is going to be one for me or not. Playpunk has Captain Flip, a memory game. Hoist your flag, recruit. So I'm assuming you're trying to flip things over that you can then place out onto your ship. That be my guess, anyways, because it looks like there's some different elements going on with it. Not super excited either way on that one. Portal Games, I'm actually bumping this one down to undecided the more I heard about it. AI space puzzle, it got compared to Concept. I do not like Concept at all. But you're trying to get people to guess stuff by using limited tokens, things like that, to get them to kind of track along with what you have. That doesn't sound that exciting to me. Printing Press. It's a theme that doesn't jump out at me. Drafting, I do like that. You know what? Let's just look at the setup here. There's definitely some interesting-ish elements going on with it. I'm kind of undecided on it, though. Then we have Robinson Crusoe Collector's Edition. It says previously owned. I previously owned Robinson Crusoe. Not the Collector's Edition. I'd love to see what that looks like. It sounds like the Collector's Edition is not going to be one that stays in print for a long time. There's also the adventure book for it. It might be an excuse with these new printings for this one to come back into my collection, because it sounds like it's always been a game where I thought, oh yeah, this one would be interesting to me. Prolific Games has Flapjacks and Sasquatches, the dice game. So you're rolling dice, chop down stuff. You know what? I'd give it a whirl. I'd try it. Their stuff is oftentimes fairly simple, fairly fun. Lumberjacks with rocket launchers. Take that game? No thanks. And Sasquatch and Seek. Logging in Legends in the Mysterious Northwoods. So, absolutely nothing that tells me about it here. Combat Memory card game. 2 to 4 players. I'm more intrigued by that. Putcat Games has Davy Jones' Locker, Curse of the Ghost Ship. This is going to be an expansion for Davy Jones' Locker, The Kraken Wakes. A cooperative game about pirates. I do like games about pirates. This one, I mean, that aesthetic is very piratey. I'd love to sit down and give this one a whirl to see if it is the type of game that I would like, because just looking at it, it feels like it would be the type I would enjoy quite well. R&R Games has scorecards. String together high-scoring combos in this game. So you're trying to create certain things like runs, stuff like that. Maybe. You know what? I'm intrigued by this, just as a small filler type experience. Rabble, the social deduction game. We know what I think about social deduction games. I don't like them. So that's an easy pass for me. Randolph, who's going to be at the Hachette Board Games booth, is going to have a Push Your Luck real-time game here. Discard your cards and shout now. That doesn't sound that fun to me. They also are going to have Seaside, another Press Your Luck game. So that's interesting. I'm assuming you're trying to lay stuff out and you're seeing how much you can grab, how much you want to grab, how much you can stack, stuff like that. This one I'm a little bit more interested in, but only to the undecided level. Ravensburger has Chronicles of a Light, Darkness Falls. This is going to be a cooperative game. And you're banishing Disney villains. I'm assuming you're playing Disney princesses to banishing villains. This could be fun. It could be. I expect it to be light, pretty simple. I definitely give it a whirl. I'm not interested in Lorcana. I've played it. It's just not for me. Villainous is, again, another one that I'm just not interested in. I haven't played it, but the Disney villain theme, and to be the most villainous villain and take that and trip up your other villains, I mean, it's very thematic, but I don't want to play that game. And that's just me. Garden Heist from Ravensburger. Try to keep raccoons from raiding your garden, unless that raccoon is you. That again sounds, I mean, there's absolutely nothing on it. It looks kind of cute, but cute does not make a game. HIT or hit. Use your cards well to bring your pawns home. So I'm assuming you're trying to avoid other pawns and... yeah. Eh. You know what? I'm undecided on that one. I won't say no to trying it. Horrified World Monsters. I'd definitely be tempted to... I'd definitely try it. I have not played any of the Horrified games, so it would make sense to give one a whirl at some point in time. Minecraft Explorers. It's just not a theme that I have any connection to. So at this point in time, it's not going to be a game that I'm interested in checking out. Oh My Pigeons. Collect more pigeons than your fellow Columba lovers. That sounds better than some of them. There's also That's Not a Hat. Doesn't sound interesting to me. Axis and Allies, so Renegade Game Studios here. I'm not interested in anything Axis and Allies. That's not the type of game that I play anymore. So I'm just going to kind of go past them quickly. However, Ezra and Nehemiah obviously has a good rating here. I think, if I'm not mistaken, so for some of these, if I look, it probably has 2 publishers on here. Yeah, it also has Garfield Games on here. I think Renegade brings a lot of those to a bigger audience. I'd love to give it a whirl. Let's see what it's like. Then there is G.I. Joe Deck Builder. I'm interested in it just because I like deck building games. Not, again, this is an expansion for it. I'm more interested in trying out the base game, but it helps me remember. I'm assuming this is going to be kind of a battle-esque style game. Not that interested in it. Even with the G.I. Joe theme, I do enjoy G.I. Joe. I enjoyed both of the G.I. Joe movies. The first one, definitely more so. But then there's a whole bunch of HeroScape. And HeroScape is a game that falls into the category of, if you own it, I'd try it. I'm never going to pick up anything for it, even with the new stuff. My Little Pony Adventures in Equestria deck building game. Not interested in that one. I mean, I have watched My Little Ponies because the 5-year-old got into that, but not going to be one that I'm bringing home a game that he's not going to be able to play for several years, and who knows if he'd even be interested in that theme then. We have Nexus Ops. This is a new edition, or new version of this game. It's supposed to be a fun kind of dice chucking, monster fighting experience. I'm there for that. We have the Power Rangers deck building game and Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid coming up here. Next, themes I'm not that interested in. And finally, well, there's still more here from Renegade. Renegade has a lot to talk about this year. There's a new version of Risk, or a new edition of this version of Risk, which I think, has some interesting elements in it. I'd love to look at it. Rob Daviau certainly helps with it, but you're fighting over the moon, Earth, seas, as it said. So, yeah. And then Robo Rally, a couple different versions of this game. First, there's a Transformers themed one. I'm more interested in that than I am in this 30th anniversary edition. Robo Rally is a game that I've heard very mixed things on. You have to be fine with the chaos that's going to happen because you're programming stuff out And if you're going and somebody bumps into you or you bump into somebody, that can throw off your whole plan. Search for the UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, I believe. This is going to be a continuation of the search for Planet X and then the search for lost species. All of them are different games. This one is going to be a different one, completely different designer too, but potentially some elements that may feel familiar, and it is deduction. So for me, that is interesting. I do like a good deduction experience. So search for UAPs, though I expect this game is going to move very fast. We're still not done with Renegade. We have an expansion for the Transformers deck building game. And then we have Veil of Eternity, which I own. I need to get played. This is a 2 to 4 player game. I think generally people say it's a 2-player game. Oh, wow, best of 3. Never mind. Okay, so yeah, need to get it played. And then Vampire the Masquerade. This is an expansion for the Rivals game. I have never jumped into it, and it looks like one of those kind of head-to-head card games, deck construction as well. So it's just, I don't think it's going to be for me. And I'm not going to go out of my way to jump into it now. Russinim has Avant-Garde. Build the best deck of Cubist art. So, light deck builder, it looks like. I'd be interested in seeing what it's like. Restoration Games, I would expect they're going to be fairly busy here with crossbows and catapults. They have the Castle Battle, as well as the Fortress War. I would be more interested, but I'm full in on Vesuvius Media's game. So I don't need 2 dexterity kind of games to knock down cancels and stuff like that. There's also Unmatched Slings and Arrows. This is not a knock on the game. I actually own some Unmatched that I need to get played. However, I've made a conscious decision to only get the Marvel stuff because there's so much coming out there. Though I may check out the cooperative version because I can play with my Marvel characters in that, even if it doesn't make full sense. I know they just announced a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles version of Unmatched Adventures. I would have loved if it had been like a Marvel villains they were going up against in an expansion, but or a standalone for that. Rising Empire Studios has an expansion for their Alpha Clash TCG. Not interested in a new TCG. Okay, Road to Infamy here. This one I am super intrigued by. This might be the one where I go and try and pick it up day one. Because Fromage is, well, first off, I like Road to Infamy games. They have some very good stuff that they've done. Canvas is wonderful. But this one has some cool elements to it with this, where's the board? Central board. There's cheese pieces. Those are cool. But you have your central board, and you're placing cheese out on it, and the direction that the cheese points determines like what you're getting back. So this central board rotates, and the cheese that is pointing to you, you're going to get back to be able to then use again. So I think that could be very interesting in terms of like a puzzle to check out. Rose Gauntlet Games has Turnip, Scrumptious Turnips and Fibbing Farmers, Turtle Taxes, Bluff Your Way to Victory, Doesn't sound like it's for me. Wild Gardens, however, I am more interested in this one. This one, I even considered when it was on crowdfunding. It looks really pretty. I like the artwork a lot on this game. I don't know enough about it and how it works. Let's just look at the game layout here to know if it's going to be one that works for me, but I'd love to check it out. There's an expansion for Radlands coming out. Radlands is another one of those games that I own. I need to play just more stuff for it. I'm definitely interested in picking this one up. If Roxley Games has a demo set up at their table, I'd love to get a demo of it as well. Skyrise, this one not really interested or interesting for me. Auction bidding game, Roxley Games, so it's going to look phenomenal. I just don't think it's going to be one that would hit my table all that often. Scorpion Mask has, again, this is at Hachette. They have a cooperative children's escape room kind of mystery thing. This is one I would love to pick up something like this when my kid is older. Right now, he's just too young for me to be like, yeah, let's play something like this. Even at 30 minutes, he'd lose focus and forget about stuff. There's also Monster Chase, a Monsters Inc. style one. You know, I'd check this one out as a memory game if it has a little twist on it or something fun. Sure, I'd be there for it, and it looks like there's been previous versions of this, so I mean 6.3 for a kids game is not bad. We have from Sea Cow Games, we have Flock Together. Level up your teammates and fight off the predators before the final season ends. That sounds like a fun experience for me, and at 1 to 5 players with good artwork on it, I think this could be a lot of fun. Look at all those forbidden candies. So many forbidden candies there. Yeah. I am super curious about this one to know how to play. Sit Down has Maps of Mystera. Become the best cartographer. I like cartography in games. I'm a big fan of cartographer. Shockingly, that one has cartography in the game. So I'm definitely very curious on this one. This could be my type of game. It could also just could fool me too. Theming wise is enough for me to say, yes, I want to check this out. And I'm assuming you're drafting or you're getting tiles to complete objectives, score points, things like that. They also have Open Season. Take revenge on those naughty adventurers who've come to disturb your peace. That's an absurd cover. Let's just look at this here. I just undecided on that one. I actually own Redwood. So, one that I gotta play at Gen Con, and I need to get back to the table again. Skybound Games. Skybound has Contrabanter, a party game of deduction. Nah, I'll pass. There's Creepshow, a betting and bluffing game. I like the artwork of Creepshow, but I'm hesitant on something like this. And then they have Ultimate Dibs, another party game. Area control party game. You know what? That sounds unique, so I would certainly give it a whirl. Smirk and Dagger Games has Adventure Party, a role-playing game. I'm interested, but not that interested. Boop, The Halls. This one I'm not interested in. I played Boop. Boop is not a bad game. It's just not a game for me. I don't think anything they do to the Boop games and the Boop system is ever going to make it a game for me. There's also Hi-Fi. This is music themed. Produced the B-side of an unfinished and legendary rock album. So I'm assuming you're trying to, yeah, it looks like you're trying to get stuff lined up, score points various ways. The rulebook cover is great. Rolling Stone style cover. I'm interested in testing that one out. But this game is killer. Oh, that doesn't sound like my type of experience. Hidden Trader. It could be fun, but no. Solus Game Studios has Spaceline, Divide and Conquer. There's also a fancier edition. Sequence your army of 7 cards into 3 battlefields. So is this just kind of like a small card game? It looks like it, where you're playing out cards, you're trying to win control in those different battlefields. I'd give it a go. I'm going to say interested on it. Alright, now we're coming up on what's going to be one of the most popular games. This one's at Spin Master Games. This is done in conjunction with Arcane Wonders and their Dice Tower Essential line. It's finally coming to the US. This was only available in Brazil before, but now the Marvel license has been negotiated, hence why it's at Spin Master. I'm very interested. I would love to get my hands on this one. If I don't, I will pick it up later, but I'd love to get my hands on it. Dumb Ways to Die, Sudden Death. I'm not interested in this tiny little party game for 2 players. Stonemaier Games is going to have the expansion for Expeditions there. Now, Stonemaier Games also always has their stuff at Beeple Source's booth. I'm interested in this expansion. I need to play my base game first, and I know that it's going to be available to pick up in the future, so I'm not rushing to check it out. There is a new version of Rolling Realms. I have yet to play Rolling Realms. I'm looking at my collection. I don't believe I have it in there, but I'd love to give it a try and see what it's like. Stronghold Games. This is going to have Digsaw, a cut, roll, and collect game about rolling dice and using scissors to collect artifacts. So it is a destructive game where you are going to have a limited number of times to use it, but you're figuring out how you can cut along various pathways to get some stuff. You know what? I'm intrigued by it. Studio H, going to be also at Hachette, has Middle Ages. This is a re-implementation, I believe, of a game called Majesty for the Realm. Now, this game I know Tom Vassell likes quite well, or at least to some level, but this is from the designer of Splendor. Majesty for Majesty for the Realm was a boring title, boring cover, and they called it Middle Ages. I like the cover, but it doesn't stand out to me. I'm interested in it, though. They also have Vampire Village, a horror-themed game. Fortify your village against creatures and direct them towards your neighbors. I suspect this is going to be a little bit too confrontational with your neighbors. Create too many possibilities of just being like, all right, everybody send it, or 2 neighbors ganging up on one side. So, yeah. Sunrise Tornado Game Studio has Aqua. Curate the best water-themed collection. This looks like a nice little small game. I want to say that Tate Wu. Has he done anything else? Oh, he definitely has done a number of other things. I want to say that he did one game that I've backed. Trick Taker? Yes, Fork. Which I need to play. Obviously, that rating is not great, but I'm very curious. I'm curious about that one. I'd love to check this one out, see what it's like. Super Meeple, again, at Hachette, has Doggerland. This is supposed to be like a fairly big looking game. So, I mean, yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to tell if I could hear any noise upstairs. But I don't think I can. So, it looks like it could be intriguing. I'm interested. I'd love to get a demo on this one. Expeditions around the world. Direct 3 expeditions around the world to cities you want to visit. Kind of undecided on that one. Could be intriguing, depends on how it works. And then Chronologic, here, a deduction. Be the first to crack the case by interrogating suspects and deducing the culprit. I enjoy deduction games, but it's not super high on my list to try. Synapsis Games has another deduction game here. Deduction and deduction. Navigate through the seas and make use of your and other players' clues to find Atlantis. I like that theme better than this one, just a case. So I give it a try. Then there's also Tanuki, a scrappy game of samurais, geishas, ninjas, and a lot of cute furry things. A take that card game. No thanks. Like Tanuki, but not in a take that card game. They also have Yokohama. Yokohama, there'll be some premium tokens. Contract economic game. Woofta. That looks like a ton. That looks like more that I want to kind of dive into. Tangerine Games has Nestlings. Compete for priority in a thriving ecosystem in order to best serve your nestlings. That could be cute. Think Fun has Gemstone Caravans. So you're trying to fill your cart with some rolling of gems. I'm actually going to say I'm interested in that one. If it's simple enough. And it looks like it should be. I wonder a little bit about some elements of this, but that's kind of cool if the box folds out into that too. Thunderworks Games is going to have Metro Runner there. I believe, if I remember correctly, I am in a game of that. I signed up for one. So I'm definitely interested in this one. I almost backed it on crowdfunding because I thought it looked cool with the kind of theme. I already own Stone Spine Architect. I really enjoy this game. A closed drafting, building out your dungeon, trying to connect all these paths, your entrances and exits, stuff like that to score more points. This would actually be a real bad setup, if I'm not mistaken. Because I guess there's a decently long path, but you can't get to our good old friend, the exit. So, and you're basically gaining this money to put additional things into your dungeon. I really enjoy Stone Spine Architects. Trick or Treat Studios has a horror game around Chucky. Protect yourself. You know, this could be fun. I like a good horror themed game. There's also City of the Living. Zombies. I'm interested in this one as well. I'm assuming you're building up kind of your defenses against zombies so they don't attack you. That looks. Those are zombies. That's a lot of zombies. Um, I'm curious about this one. How does it play? Like, what sort of game is it like? They also have Gold West. Not a horror themed game. They have a number of these. I'm intrigued by it. I've heard good things about it. And they have Scoville Second Edition. This one I'm actually really intrigued by because it is. So originally was put out by. Of course, they don't have it linked properly. It does have the Labs expansion. But it's a new edition. And there maybe even are some small changes to it of this game. And Tasty Minstrel Games, TMG, was the company that originally had this. They went out of business, so some of their games are showing up elsewhere. Scoville is one that I almost pulled the trigger on as they were liquidating stuff for a while. I didn't. This would be a chance to get it. Let me know if you played Scoville. Let me know if it's one that you enjoy. Then we also have Unchained. Spar through deck building to become the next universal monster. I like the sounds of that. I like deck building. Deck building can be a good kind of head-to-head battler, too. I wonder... I don't think this... Well, it should have some. I guess they say 3 to 4... Not recommended at 2. Interesting. I would have guessed that it would have been decent at lower player counts, but maybe it's just not properly tuned towards that. Turn Sideways Games has Words of a Feather. Use unique components to create something visually... That doesn't tell me anything. Why is it called Words of a Feather? So you're drafting, you're taking words, you're filling in words. Looks like you're filling in words... No, you're writing something else down to collect various things. I'd love to know, like, a later part of this, how it works. But I'm not going to get that, so I'd try it. I try it for a party game, 3 to 8 players, but if I know it's a party game, then that lands in a different spot than some of the other, like, filler-style games, where I do want those to play at 2. Ultra Pro has Hey Hey Relay, a chaotic die rolling kids game. Action dexterity. I'm not super thrilled with that for a kids game that I would want to check out. They also have Ship Show. Warehouse workers work together to organize and ship products correctly. So I'm assuming you're doing that with limited communication and only a few things you can share that information on. I'm undecided on that one. Unexpected Games. I'm going to put this as a must-have. They have the Mandalorian Adventures. This is from Corey Konieczka, who used to be at Fantasy Flight. Cooperative mission game around the Mandalorian. I'm 100% there for. Unfriendly Games has Nikojima. This one, I think, yeah, this is about cats on wires, just chilling out there and connecting and building up various things. I'm super intrigued by this one. I'd love to get my hands on it. Upper Deck is going to have a Neopets TCG. I know one of the people I'm going with is going to check it out. I'm not that interested. Urban TCG Entertainment has Universe of Legends TCG. Again, another TCG. Van Ryder Games is going to have the Christmas expansion for Final Girl. I already own that one. I'm a big fan of Final Girl, though it is a game that I need to play more of. And then they also have Garden Guests. Garden Guests, again, limited communication. Interesting. You're building out gardens? I mean, That looks gorgeous. On the table, uh, I'd love to give it a whirl. Player versus player, team versus team game. They also have Gateway Island. Oh, I've heard about this one. So it has a bunch of little mini games in there. As it says, 21 mini games that have a whole bunch of different things. So everyone's going to be a little bit different. Hopefully they're all good. But as you play them, like you can be like, "Oh, I really like that mini game." And it's going to tell you, "Oh, if you really like this one, maybe check out Ticket to Ride or maybe check out this game or that game." Something like that. That's a really cool concept. I don't know that I would pick it up for myself. Like, I can give people advice on games to try, and I have a lot of good intro games for, like, hey, if you're interested in this sort of thing, let's try this one out. Wacky Wizard Games. Did they change their name again? They changed their name again. Because they used to be is a brand imprint of Wise Wizard Games. So this is they didn't change their name again. This is a different line of games. Fast-paced sketching game about warning people of hazards they didn't even know existed. That could be cute and fun. There's also, I'm assuming this is more of a kid-friendly version of Star Realms. So I'd be curious to see what this one's like. Weird City Games has 3 of a kind. Write matching answers to wild questions in this party game. I mean, there's a lot of different party games out there. So each round, select a category and write answers based on 3 different adjectives. Modes of transportation, quickest, most magical, and smelliest. You know what? That actually sounds fun. You're trying to match with people. So the more you can match with them, the more points you're going to get. I like that idea for a game. I would try that, and I think I would enjoy Weird City Games 3 of a kind. Now here we have Wise Wizard Games. I believe... Yeah, I pre-ordered this one already. Okay, so let's start at the top. There's an expansion for Sorcerer. Sorcerer is not one that ever strongly interested in me. But I did already pre-order this legacy campaign for Star Realms. I would love to find somebody and sit down and play that through when it comes in. Then WizKids has DC Super Skill Pinball, Harley Quinn Ball. I like the Super Skill Pinball stuff. There's an expansion here, or a starter set, I guess, for Onslaught. I'd love to sit down and learn about this one. There's Trail Story America. Travel the United States in the 1930s, recording your adventure as you go. You know what? I'm assuming you're trying to fill in and find different things to score the most points, but that sounds like it could be fun. We're getting real close to the end here now. Wonderful World Board Games has Fashion Police. Design expressive outfits for evocative themes, and then guess who dressed for what. So does that mean everybody has kind of a different one that they're trying to do? So life on Mars or something like that, and you draw out something crazy. I'm not super interested in that one. We do have Locomomo. Take the most charming photo of the forest by drafting and arranging animal tiles. That sounds cute and fun. Lone Wolves. Dispatch wolves to control territories in this 2-player trick-taking game. I would not have been that interested, except it's a trick-taking experience. So, yeah, give that to me. Let me see if it is a good 2-player trick-taking game. Rubber bands, rubber, paper, scissors. battle out in rock, rubber, paper, scissors duel to seize control of the shops. I'm not interested in that one, sorry. Touch it. Dungeon. Identify your image through the sense of a touch in this fast party game. How does that work? Are these things raised and you're trying to figure out what they are? I mean, I'm more interested in the dungeon version than I am in marine life or pop culture. I don't want to touch pop culture. And then finally, we have Zolox Games. That's how I'm assuming it's pronounced. It could be Oxalox. Exalox. An enthralling and immersive race to survival. Can you save your islanders? I believe I remember when Fog Escape from Paradise was on crowdfunding, and I thought it looked really busy. Like, you're trying to get your people out and you're funneling them through, all the while I think like the back of the board is going to start to get pushed in, but this is the type of game that I think I would find interesting. But that is the massive list of games. This was only an hour and 15 to wrap it up, so 3 hours and 25 minutes approximately, 3 hours and 20 minutes approximately to get through all the games. That's pretty good for me. Let me know which ones interest you most. And I'm going to have more Gen Con coverage coming up. I think on... Well, tomorrow I'm going to share out this video. And then I think on Friday I will do my top 10 games I want to demo. And then Monday next week I'll do my top 10 games that I want to buy. There's a chance that I will also be streaming next Monday. What that would be, though, I'm not sure. So you'll have to find out then. If you enjoyed this content and enjoy this coverage, please give the video a thumbs up. If you want to know more coverage that I do when I go live, subscribe and click that notification bell. That's going to be the best way to know when I go live. And you can find a whole bunch of videos in the backlog, previous series Gen Cons, but a lot of different games that I've tried as well. Some which are going to be at Gen Con. So it might give you an idea if it's a game for you or not. I know that I did some coverage on Slay the Spire. That's going to be a very popular one there. So keep that in mind. If you're interested, check out my coverage on that so you know if you want to head there early on. And if you want to check out other coverage, like I said, I'm going to have written coverage on nerdologist.com. You can find the link for that down in the description below, as well as then I have a podcast called 10 Minute Marvel, where we discuss everything Marvel. We're going to have a big episode that comes out next week before Gen Con, as I and my co-host are going to have seen Deadpool and Wolverine and Comic-Con news out as well. So join for that if that interests you. But with that, bottoms up.